Good evening and welcome to episode 59. As always, we'll start with our gratitude attitude. So, if you would please gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, relax all your muscles. Take one more deep breath. And this time, let all your tension melt away. Now, think of one thing which you are thankful for that happened in the past week. Once you have identified that, think about why you are thankful. And now, let's set it free. If you're by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you are with someone, tell it to each other. Okay, so I was at a party over the weekend and a group of us started talking politics. Uh-uh. Obviously, there were differing opinions on the table. So now all of us are friends. And for the better part of 20 years or 30 years, we know each other. So we all just leave our discussions on the table. And when we get up, everything is just fine. But that's not the case all the time when we talk about politics. So that leads me to think about how we can be compassionate towards those with who we disagree. Let's jump in. Have you noticed that when you are having a discussion with someone who you love and know, or you are friends with, even when you disagree, you tend not to be judgmental, right? You're just having a discussion. You agree to disagree, but your relationships stay intact. It is when we are talking to people who we don't identify with, or of different communities, or otherwise cannot relate to you, then we tend to be judgmental. You would come to conclusions and will not react with compassion towards this person. And this is the root of the problem in our public discourse today. This happens for a number of reasons. Two prominent reasons among them are our pre existing judgment and biases towards a group of people. That's one. And lack of belief that they are not coming from a genuinely deeply held point of view. Once we realize this, the rest becomes much easier. So, how do we overcome these pre existing judgments and certain beliefs or lack thereof? The first thing to do is get to know the people who you are having a discussion with, if possible. It's not always possible. Have an offline conversation that is universal, such as sports or weather or community at large. The next thing to do is to think about someone who you know has similar beliefs. If you imagine that you are having a discussion with the person you already know, you are less likely to judge or be biased towards this person. So try that next time you find yourself arguing with your television or a social media platform. It is also important to pay attention to what the other person is saying. When we talk, a lot of time people tend to tune out when the other person talks. But when you respond, if you acknowledge what they are trying to say, and it doesn't mean you are agreeing with their point of view, you are just acknowledging what they are saying and you understanding what they are trying to say. That's all. Then it will soften some of the tension during the conversation. Another important point is to make sure that you hear them out so that they have an outlet for their argument before you respond to them. This gives them a safe space, if you will, right? And reduces any heated exchange. Ultimately, though, you want to figure out your own biases and work on them. It's very difficult. One thing that may help is to figure out the last time you changed your opinion about something. That is an admission that your views are not always correct. And there is a room for a different plausible argument. And this always humbles us. So, in his book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, Dr. Stephen Covey highlights that it is our ability to seek first to understand, then be understood. Seek first to understand, then be understood, which makes us effective. At some level, though, we already know this, right? So, why do we still not show that compassion when we are disagreeing with someone? This most likely is coming out of our strong sense of self, our attachment to our I that we have talked about before. We probably think that if we show compassion, we are endorsing their point of view or we are compromising our own beliefs. But that's not the case. All that means is that we are more worried about our ego and need to be right. So here's an example. Personally, I believe that every life is precious. And if it was up to me, I would not make a decision for abortion. But I also understand that it's a life changing decision. It's ultimately a woman's right to choose. A lot of people I know thought this was a conflicting position, but I quite frankly don't see a conflict in this at all. I'm very clear as to what I would do if I were in a particular situation. But that does not give me the right to affect someone else's life. So this actually happened. About 18 years ago, I had a very interesting discussion with a religious leader about this topic. They happened to be at my home on an election day of all time, right? I think it was 2004 general election, if I'm correct. He was visibly upset when I said what I believed. He thought it was an absolute black and white issue and all life is precious, which I agreed, by the way, with him wholeheartedly, right? But then he didn't think there was any room for other beliefs. This is where compassion needs to enter the dialogue. An otherwise highly compassionate person can lose their patience when an argument shakes their belief system. That's what we need to be mindful of. So, hope this is useful. In today's meditation, let's do something we haven't tried in a long time. We'll do eye movement meditation. So, as always, we'll first settle down at our hearts. After that, we'll move the focus of our eyes in different directions. And of course, I'll walk you through the whole process. This particular meditation increases our concentration. So it's very important from that point of view. So if you're ready, we'll begin. Please get into a meditation posture, cross-seated position if you can. If you are in a chair, make sure your legs are straight. Keep your back upright, your spine erect, shoulders leveled. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mouth just a little bit open. That way, any tension you may be carrying in your jaws dissipates. Put your palms in your lap, right over left. Thumbs gently touching each other. Now, take a deep breath. As you exhale, let all the stress in your body melt away. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, let yourself completely loose. Now, bring your attention to the sensation of your breath. Feel the cool air at your nostrils as you breathe in. Feel slightly warmer air as you breathe out. Continue to focus on the sensation of your breath for about a minute or so on your own. Now, bring your attention at your heart. Imagine everything that happened before this moment melts away in light and disappears. Things that have not yet happened are not real anyway. So it is just this moment. Enjoy the peacefulness of this moment. Let this moment bring the next peaceful moment. Remember, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just enjoy. Now, bring your attention to the center of your eyes. Keep your focus there. Move your focus to the bottom right corner of your eyes. Bring your focus to the top left corner of your eyes. Bring your focus to the top right corner of your eyes. Bring your focus to the bottom left corner of your eyes. Bring your focus to the top center of your eyes. Bring your focus to the bottom center of your eyes. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Any questions? No takers today? Go ahead, Chirag.
I don't have a question, but I think you are right. With most of the discussion, not just political, it's all about your ego at the end.
Yeah. And if we recognize that, that change is fast, right?
Yep.
A lot of time what happens is I recognize after the conversation.
Yeah. But more than that, I think I have realized that if you take it too personally and the other person is not, you are the one who is suffering more than the other person.
It's always that way, right?
So, yeah.
It is so, it's so weird and about ego. You don't want to be wrong even with your 10-year-old kid, right? Ego comes in the way even then. So,
That's right.
yeah, it's,
And deep down, you know you're wrong. That's the worst
Yeah.
part, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
So, yeah.
But yeah, it's a. We know all this thing, but when we hear, that's when you realize that it's an eye opener a little bit.
And that's the whole thing, right? We all know this, right, at some level, right? It's just that hopefully by repeating these things, it will sink in just a little bit at a time, right? And make us a better human being eventually.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Thank you.
all right, everyone, I'm going to stop recording.